My name is Sitwat. I work with my husband. We have a design build company. We do construction and interiors. We also started a little kitchen, pop-up kitchen kind of situations recently by the name of the Kitchen Table. And I also have another little baby brand called the Commons Karachi. It's a mixture of art and food and events. And the idea was just to kind of bring communities and people together, especially after COVID, because we just thought we needed some sort of space, safe spaces to bring people together and do things that you don't conventionally get to do in Karachi. My husband and I, we work together, we're raising a kid together, we live together, and it's a lot, but it's also, it helps with the juggling bit. So yeah, we are pretty much equal in all responsibilities, and that really helps. My father passed away a few years ago, but my father was a big sort of, he was a driving force in my life. But even again, my family is a big, my mom, my sister, my husband, my brother, we're all a close unit, and we're very, even if we don't talk all the time, we aren't the sort who call each other all the time and every day, but we're very, I know that if I stumble, if I need help, or if anything, I have a whole system that I can rely on and that I can fall back on. Especially my husband, he's like my biggest support in anything and everything that I do, he's always there. I think I've just been really, really lucky because I haven't had to deal with a lot of hurdles that a lot of women, especially in our culture, have to go through, because I've had, I had conservative parents, but at the same time they never stopped me from going out and achieving my dreams. In my 20s I was photographing weddings. My partner and I were one of the first girls doing that. We used to be this novelty out there, and now it's so great to see so many other girls doing this. But at that time our parents never stopped us. I made sure, I think the greatest hurdle I would say is just picking the right partner, because that took a while. And that caused a little bit of struggle, but then I made sure I found somebody who our goals were aligned and who had kind of the same sort of value and systems, like belief system that I do. And so that with him too, it's just life for me. I'm so super blessed, but it's been kind of easy, and I feel really privileged but also bad at the same time, because I'm just like, there's so much other people go through. So I don't really know, like I wouldn't say I've had too many hurdles to cross, and for that I'm like very lucky and blessed and thankful to Allah and to everybody around me for that. For me, when I had Zaki, I kind of like, for the first 2-3 years, kind of lost a bit of myself. And that's also something we don't talk about, how motherhood comes with this loss of identity, because everything you do becomes about this other person. And so I just stopped working. I started working when I was 21. At that point I had a baby when I was 32, and I just stopped, and my days would just kind of turn into this cycle of this blur where it was the same thing. It was just diapers and this and that and the same spiel. And then I actually started believing that I don't know how to do anything, especially with photography. It was something that I was like, well, nobody knows me anymore, nobody remembers me anymore. How will I even go back, and do I even want to? And so I decided to go to Dubai, and I did some courses in interiors and things. My husband already had a construction company, and I was like, okay, I'll just kind of work with you. But just getting back into that flow was mentally a momentous start. Like, it just seemed like this huge wall that I had to climb, and so that was something that I didn't expect. Like, when I was having a baby, it was just like we're just going with the flow, and it's just something, but it really was very defining in terms of who I became for a while. I think they should be putting themselves first more. I think that women often get, like I said, caught in these roles that are defined for them, which is like the mother and the wife, and even at work, you're always worrying about offending someone or feeling guilty for saying no, and it's just somehow that's what's been ingrained. I don't know how many times in a day I apologize. Like, when you walk in, I'll say, I'm sorry for the mess, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for, it's like a constant thing. And I'm trying consciously to stop doing that so much, But yeah, I think we need to put ourselves first a little bit, because if you won't feel your best and you won't be your best, then you can't be the best for others, even in your work or in your personal life or anything. So yeah, just put yourselves best. And that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, go to the spa or do a self-care day or get your hair done, or it just means like prioritizing yourself first and doing things that make you happy. The future should be when my son and his generation grow up, you don't have conversations about men versus women, or the pay gap or any of those things. Like whatever in the future, I just want to not have to have these conversations, not have to have these situations, not have to have an Aurat March, because I really wish that by then things will be better and things will suddenly, these things won't matter anymore, because they won't be issues. And we'll have, probably the world will be burning with climate change and all of that stuff, but at least I feel like the way I see younger girls, even 5 years younger than me or 8 years younger than me, I look at them and I'm like, they're so much more confident, they're so much better put together, they have so much more drive and ambition, their mindset is changing, and I hope that the same is happening with boys and they're more accepting of that. And I hope that all of us who have boys, we just raise them better, so that when in the future we don't have to have these conversations with them, and we don't have to worry about them DMing and getting into people's mailboxes. I don't know what the cool way of saying that is anymore, but all of that creepy stuff, like, just don't do it. Like, that's the future I look for, where these things are not issues anymore. Thankfully, I've been blessed with lots of happy moments. I think the most defining moment in my life would be when I had my son, because that just kind of, everything changed after that. But yeah, I think that's been the most, in the past recent years, that's just been something it's hard to say what the happiest, like, I think in recent times, the last market that we did, the Commons Karachi market, there was this one point where I just there's these steps at the venue, and I just stood at these steps and I saw all of these people just buzzing, and these vendors selling things, and people just like a whole bunch of people just having a good time. And I was just looking at it and I'm like, wow, I just pulled this, like, I did that. And I didn't think I could, so it was just kind of cool, and I was feeling really proud and happy happy at that point. I was just like looking at it and I'm like, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that was a happy moment in recent times. I'm a little, like, I think I would like to think of myself as a little on the trendier side. Like, I like newer things, I like innovation in fashion, I like different cuts, I like things that aren't very conventional. So I'd always try and, kind of improvise or change things up a little bit. So yeah, I tend to stay away from a lot of color. Like, you won't see me in like super bright colors. Probably 80% of my wardrobe is black. So I tend to look at neutrals. So yeah, I would say I like, nicely cut, neutral, easy to wear, but somewhat different from everything else. I think to me, success would be looking back at my life and being like, theek hai, I did something that made a difference no matter what scale it is, and I, raised a good human, and that I have just a happy life. I have a good set of friends, a good family unit, and just happy vibes. I don't want to have like tension, and that's just, to me, success is just being happy and just being calm and chill, and just, sometimes we tend to overthink and overanalyze, and I do that too, and that kind of grounds you, it holds you too much, and it makes you maybe not able to move. So I always used to do this thing, even though I'm doing a bunch of different things, but I always used to feel like I'm not ready for it yet, I'm not qualified enough for it yet. Even with the photography, for the longest time, I would never call myself a photographer. And I'd be like really ashamed of like saying I'm a photographer, because I was like, I didn't go to photography school, so I don't really have that qualification. And I used to really hold myself back, thinking all these thoughts that were just hurdles in my own brain for myself. I love that now the shift towards entrepreneurship and doing your own work and working out of home, those things are really interesting shifts, because it really means that you can do whatever you want and that people are accepting of it. And that again is the point of the Commons Karachi market, that I was like, I kept seeing over COVID all these candle makers and all these like people making jewelry out of clay, and they're just popping up all the time. And I was like, these people, it's so cool that you decide, okay, this is something I want to do, and you just start doing it and you're selling it and people are buying it, and that's so cool. So I think just if you want to do something, don't wait for the right time or the enough inventory and the perfect look and the perfect branding. Just do it and things will follow, and it will kind of start putting itself into place by itself.